Welcome to the Legal Tech League, the official podcast of ILTA's first sanctioned fantasy football league, hosted by Adam Wehler and Cheryl Wilson Griffin.
Welcome to the first ILTA Fantasy Football Draft podcast. We are going to go recap the draft. We're going to talk about the upcoming season. We're going to look through various things. We have a couple of segments for you all. Today, I would be remiss to start at the top. Today's podcast is brought to you by Dolphin Search. We hope this can allow you to unleash your dolphin brain this season to analyze all of the information that you need. With that, Cheryl Wilson Griffin and I, hello, Cheryl, welcome to this first podcast.
How exciting, Adam. Like this, and the thing is, you made this happen. I so love this.
You know, it's like a love of losing. I love to lose in fantasy football, and so there is nothing more fun than losing with friends that are across the country in all time zones.
Exactly.
So this is going to be great.
And we're repping our.
Yes. We hopefully will be repping different ILTACon shirts with every podcast. So that may mean that there's only going to be one. But you know, maybe we'll find more ILTACon shirts that we can dig up from past years.
Send shirts. You know where Adam is. Send them there. Yeah.
There you go. I love it. First and foremost, we would be remiss at the top to not thank ILTA and everybody over at ILTA for really supporting us in this endeavor. We really want to find a fun way to get people in the legal technology industry and the legal industry in general together to have fun, to talk. The draft was a blast, and it will hopefully go from there. I don't know. What did you think about the draft, Cheryl?
I loved it, and it was hilarious because I don't even know everybody. You feel like you know everybody, but you don't know everybody in legal tech by any stretch. And so I think for that standpoint, it was super fun to like take some time, eat some food, maybe talk a little crap, and draft a team. So hopefully we can start doing this every year, and maybe you can join us next year if you weren't able to make it this year.
Yeah, no, and that's such a great point. This is going to be the first trial run, and as with every beta mouse, we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to do great things too. But you know, one of the things that I would like to bring up is when it comes to the co-manager process. You know, a lot of people were getting on. Sleeper does it really weird, where the main manager has to invite the co-manager. So we're putting it in here, and we're putting it out there for everybody who signed up. Please, if you're having a hard time reaching out to your co-manager, please reach out to either of us. We are happy to make sure everybody is in the league and enjoys it to the maximum amount possible. And, you know, you'll get to hear and see our chuckleheads, you know, every now and again doing a podcast.
Yeah, and I think don't worry if your co-manager maybe flakes out a little bit here and there, right? We're all busy, and the whole idea of having the co-managers is like sometimes you're going to be traveling or something's going to happen. Hopefully you let your co-manager know, like, hey, go for it, it's all you this week. But I think the whole idea is that nobody's on their own. So if you feel like you're on your own, reach out. We're here to help.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you know, with that, one of the other pieces of information we want to start with at the top is with regards to the Sleeper application. You may not have used it before. We're going to try and make sure that all communication happens within Sleeper. We don't want to proliferate emails. That is not something that a good legal tech steward is about. And so what we really want to do is make sure that you're getting the message and getting the notifications through Sleeper. You know, Rick Clark's name comes to mind about, you know, interesting, you know, mobile data, you know, that we're dealing with here. Anyway, please don't make sure that anything discoverable is put in there. But when it comes to that, you will get notifications if you have injuries. You will get notifications if there are chats, if there are trades offered, so on and so forth. So please log into the app. Please make sure, as much as I know you don't like notifications on your phone, to enable notifications because it will help you during the season.
And you can go through and get really granular in the app. I went through and screwed around with it. So like if you don't want like breaking news, you can turn that off. But make sure you have the core things. You're missing a player, somebody's hurt, games are starting, whatever the core things you think will help you, because you'll be surprised on how things can slip your mind as time goes on.
Okay.
And one thing, we'll talk about this when it happens eventually, but the one thing that gets me every single year is those dang London games. Because if you don't have your lineup set up and you're on Eastern time zone, it's like that is crack in the morning. So you got to get it together. But we'll make sure.
Well, and let's not even start. Yeah, let's not even start talking about Western time zones for those London games. So, but we will make sure to try and announce all of that every week. And with that, let's look ahead at the NFL schedule this week. We kick off this Thursday. That's awesome.
Yes, I cannot wait. Thursday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern. For you West Coasters, you got a much better time start. And that's Ravens Chiefs, which is a nice rematch from a really great game last year.
Yes, it was. And one thing I would like to note is the NFL is all encompassing. It is trying to take over our lives. There is a Friday night game as well.
I just saw that.
Yes, and along with the Sunday night and Monday night mess. So Friday nights in Brazil. So again, yeah, it's crazy. So
amazing.
Make sure your entire team. This is the thing: your entire team does not have to be locked. Just if you are having a player play in that game, you need to make sure to have him in your lineup before the kickoff. So. Like if you have Patrick Mahomes, you need to have him in your lineup before Thursday night, or, I believe the Eagles or Jalen Hurts is playing on Friday night. Have him in your lineup by Friday night.
I love it. I had no idea there was a Friday game. Wonderful. Well, should we chat? Should we chat Badass of the Week?
Yes, our first segment, Badass of the Week. Please, let's chat.
So
this is near and dear to my heart.
I know. I selected this one. The Badass of the Week is officially the 49ers Ricky Pearsall. I said that right.
Ricky Pearsall. Yeah.
He was unfortunately, I'm not making light of this, shot in the middle of San Francisco, in the middle of the day on San Francisco out shopping, apparently for a very fancy watch, not one of these, but a Rolex. And the reason he's such a badass is, what? Did you hear the other guy got shot too? One bullet, 2 shots, number one. That's impressive. Who knows how that happened? But he got shot straight through the chest, like right here. And if you watch the video footage, he walked himself to the ambulance and held his own compress. Can you get any tougher than that?
No, you really don't. I mean, you have to be something special to be like, okay, I'm good. There's a hole in me. But whatever. He's already out of the hospital.
Yeah. He's already out. Yeah, he might be healed up. Maybe he's like Captain America or something. I'm not sure, but total badass.
Total badass. Well, with that being said, he is on the non-football injury list, which is a thing, which means he'll miss the first 4 weeks of the season while he heals up. But to Ricky Pearsall out there, get better. You are amazing. That is our Badass of the Week.
Yes, absolutely. Do we know who has him? We should have looked that up and said, P.S., take him out of your lineup if he's in.
No doubt.
So let's talk team names, because it's draft week, so we don't have anything to look back to yet. But let's talk team names. And I don't know, Adam, if you had a chance. I went through and looked at them, but I don't know if you've identified any of your top favorite team names yet.
I did. Once we put this in the show doc, like I was trying to look through, but I think you have them already canned. So why don't you try and go ahead and tell, and I'll come back with some.
Yeah, absolutely. So I looked at everything kind of NFC and AFC. Remember, Adam's running AFC, Cheryl's running NFC. Of course, I love my team's name, Urban AI, but you can't vote for yourself, so that's not allowed. So in the NFC, I have chosen Perfectly Blitz, which has a cat purr at the beginning of it. So I feel like there's
that is cool.
Kind of play on the words there. That wins the day for
Mm-hmm.
me in the NFC. And the one thing I'll say about the NFC League is, guys, our team names kind of, y'all need to get in there and make some team names. Like, because sometimes it's just like Team Cheryl. And I'm like, you know what? You're cool, but make up some fun team names or let ChatGPT do it. But the AFC has a litany of really good team names in them. Um, Drops of Gin and Juice, great name. Love that one, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
two N's in
Mm-hmm.
gin, though, and that makes me think that there's something indicated there. Anything behind the scenes?
Yes. So Ted Ginn Jr. Was a wide receiver, and all he did was, I mean, his nickname was Stonehands because he would drop the ball. So drops of gin and juice.
I love it. See, NFC, this is the kind of effort I need you making. Like show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So on the AFC side, AFC has some good names. I'm going to give you my honorable mentions, which are Threat Level Midnight, A plus, and Team Peyton Pending, which I believe to be a
That's
play on
good.
Peyton Pending and Peyton Manning, or it could be any of the Peytons actually. That one, those are great. But my number one, and it's going to be my number one the whole season, is Joe Buck Yourself.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, that was a wonderful name. Yeah.
Well, and I really dislike Joe Buck on like many levels. Like, and so the idea that someone would name a team after him, I'm like, A plus, you've won my heart. That's all we need.
Yeah. No, for me, it's the law firm of Fox and Hearn. I like that in the AFC. I really think that that's pretty cool. And when it comes to the NFC, I Walker Bice LLC, like that's another great one. I love the law firm names, even Team the Law Firm. That was really, really well done. So again, people can be creative, and it's wonderful to see the creativity out there.
Can you change your team name mid-season, or is it stuck forever now? You can change it, right?
You can change it as much as you want.
That's, my usual practice in my other leagues is if I start really taking a crap and losing, I consider that an indication that I need to change my team name. So if you see my team name changing a lot, it means I'm sucking.
So, the funny thing about team names is I had a fantasy football team in another league that was called Down with the Sickness forever and a day. And then the pandemic happened and I needed to change the name. I love some Disturbed. Shout out to Disturbed. I love them. But it did not fit after that. So yeah.
I would not have thought that the pandemic ruined any team names, but apparently it ruined a lot of things, and team names being one of them.
Yeah, the very, very bottom level, but I'm still kind of miffed about that.
Yeah, see, that's my main team that I play on. It's currently called Slimes or Dimes, which there's like a gang here in Atlanta called something about slimes, and they paint everything. It's like graffiti everywhere, but it's great graffiti. So I'm like, I'm gonna borrow it, like, because they had one on the way to the airport that said Slimes or Dimes, and I'm like, I have no, like, I want to get an English instructor involved and diagram that sentence, but we'll cover that later.
See, that's amazing. That's amazing. So should we move on to our next segment? We're going to call this Fantasy Football KPIs.
Yes, I love it. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with some objective third-party rankings?
Yeah, let's do it. Come on, we should give credit where credit's due to tell the people who they should love or who they should feel is at fault here.
Right. Well, and that's so I used Fantasy Pros for this independent analysis of the draft. And so lots of interesting stuff has arisen. The one question I always ask myself is who's most likely to win? So according to Fantasy Pros, the team The Den holds a slight edge in the NFC with an 18% chance of winning the entire conference. Not just making the playoffs, winning the whole thing. 20% is not a bad, that's not a bad number.
No, not at all.
But there's some other great teams too that have that are just up there. So Walker Bice LLC, the law firm, and another great team named Dick Clark. I can only assume that's Rick's
Awesome.
team, but
Yeah, we can only assume, yes.
I didn't look at it yet. But those all guys all have a 15% likelihood of winning the NFC. Pretty dang good. In the AFC, a little more, not as high
A
ranking.
little closer.
Maybe a little more evenly distributed, perhaps, is the right way to look at it.
There we go.
But
there you go.
Elham in 215 has got a 17% chance of winning the entire AFC conference. So that's big news. And then
that is big news.
What about who's supposed to lose according to the stats? And this is just like the pollsters on the presidential day. Like, you know what happens? Like, you come out and it doesn't turn out anything like that. It's just, I'm like, why do we bother? But because we don't have any topics yet, so that's where we're at.
No, again, we're not talking about any results yet. So this is great. I love prognostication. I can't pronounce it, but I love prognostication.
I'm not even going to try because I'll do worse. So that's the So who's projected to lose? Two definitive, obvious losers. And I feel like, I skipped one. We skipped our trash talking segment. We'll have to circle back on that.
We will.
In the AFC, the team that's projected to come in straight up dead last, AFC, I'm sorry, is Threat Level Midnight. Unfortunately, because a high-ranking team name, in my humble opinion. What can you do?
That's what happens.
It's just math. It's just math. It's not me.
Yeah.
On the NFC side, I'm curious how you will pronounce this name, Adam. Bulldozers or bulldoziers? Doziers? I don't know.
I like Doziers.
I think it's Doziers. That's what I say in my head. So, yeah.
Yeah, like from Fraggle Rock, the Doziers.
That's so
funny. Yeah.
I was just talking about them yesterday, oddly enough, because I have a lot of Fraggle Rock.
Everybody talks about Fraggle Rock. Yeah, of course. But I did not have that on my doc that we were going to talk about Fraggle Rock, but here we are.
If we were prepared, we would have had the right materials to go with it.
Correct.
So after looking at who was most projected to lose, I thought maybe then we go to our trash talking segment because that's a pretty clean evolution, and we're going to keep this light and friendly and fun.
Yes, we are. One of the things that we like to do with our trash talking segment is just kind of, have an understanding of, hey, where things were great and where things kind of went wrong. And hopefully some of you out there, some of you owners out there will join us in the future and be able to answer for your issues and wheres every week and have a good time in general. And we'll go from there.
Yes, maybe we have the team who does the worst or the best next week be a special guest.
I love it.
Explain yourself.
Explain yourself. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
New segment. All right, I'm adding that to the agenda. The new segment is explain yourself. So thinking about the team that's least likely to win the whole conference, I always go back and look at the draft order and kind of say, like, who picked in a weird order, right? And when I say weird, I just mean non-traditional. You pick the way you want to pick. I picked Patrick Mahomes way out of position, and I'm totally comfortable with that. I own that.
Yeah, but we're going to be circling back to you in a second.
Oh, good.
So don't you worry. Yeah, don't you worry.
There was a lot that went into that. I was kind of freestyling, and it's a fun team, but we'll come back. But coincidentally, the Bulldozers team that maybe is, according to third-party readings, most likely to lose. They also were the first team to pick a quarterback, and they picked a quarterback in the first round, which is pretty bonkers usually. But the thing that makes it crazier is it's CJ Stroud, and two, it's for the Texans. So if it were Patrick Mahomes, I might be like, okay, you just really like Patrick Mahomes.
Look, inside the law firm, Cheryl, insider information, we sign agreements so that we don't have that. Maybe there's some insider information that they have about the Texans this year. Again, from all statistics last year, CJ Stroud was great, but he didn't add the running that you need to be like superhuman, like your Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen in the fantasy world. But he's got some good wide receivers down there. So who the heck? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, insider knowledge totally welcome in fantasy football. That's the key element there.
Yes.
And you know what else?
Now, but I go for it.
No, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, the other thing that's interesting, besides that unusual Stroud pick, do you know who the #1 quarterback drafted in either conference was? The first quarterback? Josh Allen. And I'm like, I love Josh. I went and saw the last game against the Patriots out at the Buffalo Stadium last year. Did not snow.
Yeah.
But that feels like a strong choice to me.
No, he's always going to run the ball. I think, he may not have the receiving weapons that he had last year.
Right.
But then again, Stephon Diggs didn't show up for half the season anyways. So, again, you just never count out his legs, and, Mr. Cook and Keon Coleman and the lot up there, who knows? But that's going to be a real tough division with the Jets, who are going to be amazing. Miami is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. And so, I really think that, Buffalo might finish third in that division, although all the New York fans might kill me for saying that. But
send the hate mail to Adam, not to Cheryl.
Yeah. Send your hate mail. Speaking of hate mail, Urban AI, what were you thinking when you drafted both the starting quarterback and the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs? Are you that big of a Chiefs fan that you want to rely on their entire offense? Or are you, do
I have a problem? Yeah. But here's the thing. This is all part of my strategy. I do this in every league. I always pair a quarterback with a receiving running back or a good receiver, because you get double scoring, right? So when Patrick Mahomes throws that inevitable touchdown pass, I'm going to get Patrick Mahomes score, plus the other player's score, plus the half-point PPR. It's all part of the master plan. It's a little insane, and I might be overcommitted because this program did hose me last year with Patrick Mahomes. It didn't work in my other league last year. That's what I'm saying. It works a lot. Not always, though. Sometimes Patrick Mahomes has to take half the season off and just chill out. So
who the heck knows? I mean, we'll see. So what else? I mean, what's on your mind for this NFL season? Now that we've kind of looked at some of the things, real quick, looking up in the fantasy slate, I wanted to go over kind of the matchups this week.
Yes.
And right now, according to Sleeper, the biggest mismatch in the NFC is Walker Bice versus Lady Johnson's. According to say basically a almost 13 point swing between the two. Lady Johnson's did the same thing as you. Is really behind the Chicago Bears, which is great. And the rookie, Mr. Williams. And anything pop out to you about that matchup that you're really interested to see?
I think shout out to Krista and the Walker, all the folks at Walker Bice LLC. I think this doesn't seem like I don't know. It seems like an even matchup, but I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff here. I'm particularly,
and I didn't pick this intentionally because you're a Bears fan. But it was something that was very interesting to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been watching Hard Knocks on HBO, but the whole Caleb Williams thing, very interesting. I am a Bears fan, but I have I'm also a Cubs fan, so I have a deep I'm accustomed to losing. So I'm not expecting much. And I don't suspect it's going to be Caleb Williams that carries Krista to success if she does it.
That's good. So the AFC, right now, the biggest mismatch in the AFC, really, again, I mean, and things are pretty close, but Team Brian and Team SDS Sports is the biggest match. It's a 10-point swing there. Anthony Richardson starting for Team SDS Sports. A lot of rookies on that team. Marvin Harrison Jr., the Wonderkind, and it's going to be an interesting matchup going against Patrick Mahomes and some heavy hitting running backs. I mean, between Taylor and Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, I love Eckler too. Like, and is this his first year with Tampa Bay? I think it is, right?
Eckler's with the Commanders, and this is.
Oh wait, with Washington. I mean, rather, yeah.
Yes, Washington.
Is it his first season with them?
Hey, different reds, pewter red. It's okay.
Right. Well, I was looking at who they're playing. It's all screwed up. And then Cooper Kupp too, like who I always love as a wide receiver. Although that poor dude, I don't think got enough protein or calcium growing up because he just always seems to be like breaking something.
Yes.
So I wish him well.
I agree.
Lots of milk this year, guy.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, this has been, lovely. Again, I want to reinforce to everybody, set your lineups, do great things, focus this year, enjoy all the games this weekend. And if you have any questions, please hit us up within the Sleeper app. You can do at a certain person if you put the at symbol in the message. And we will get any message that you want. Any closing thoughts?
No, I mean, I think I always think this is an exciting week. It's like everything that we've worked for, it's time to go. And I think it's nice too. It's been a really busy year for me. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to having this like really organized distraction.
Yeah, no, and I don't know how all of you are feeling out there. It has been a whirlwind, recovering from Ilticon, 4,300 people. I mean, it's just amazing to say that amount of people came to that conference. It was a phenomenal time. I
lost my voice, so I did it right.
I did not lose my voice, or maybe I kind of did. Again, the amount of karaoke, that was a good time. So we would be remiss without thanking Dolphin Search for sponsoring our first episode. Again, unleash your dolphin brain when collecting all of your information for fantasy football this season. So thanks, Cheryl, and we'll see you all next week.
Excellent. Get used to losing.
Yeah, get used to losing.
Thanks all.
Bye.